Card games have become one of the most popular types of gaming in the entire world, and pretty much anyone can find a card game for them. Simple games, casino games, drinking games, Windows games, and probably the most popular of them all, dueling games. Be it virtual or physical cards, dueling games look simple, but some players take it very seriously, and I can see the appeal. Creating a deck of cards that fits your playstyle, has notable strength, and can near guarantee you victory while always looking for ways to improve it requires a good amount of intelligence and skill, and gives a sense of satisfaction to the creator. Not to mention, as time goes on, new cards and rules are added to the game which complicate things even more, which led to the Magic the Gathering game being officially the most complex card game in the world. I remember when I was little, a dueling game was as simple as my monster is stronger than yours, so it dies. Watching some of my friends play Magic the Gathering nowadays looks like, my beast with 2 arms attacks your golem with 1 arse and it dies. No it doesn't, because he has a bowl of Swole super equipped, so you don't damage him. But my beast gets a +4 damage to creatures that eat soup. But it's Tuesday and my golem can't be hurt on the Tuesday, and it just gets confusing. I like card games, but there's no way in fuck I could ever get to the skill or intelligence required to take part in a tournament. Thankfully, however, there are games out there for filthy casuals like me that allow for tactical deck building without needing a big brain. One of those games is the GameCube exclusive Lost Kingdoms. An adventure game where you play as Princess Katia as she fights against an ancient evil by summoning monsters through magic cards. The game starts with a short sequence that describes the backstory. The short version is a fog has appeared and is slowly making its way across the land, engulfing villages, lakes, forests, Starbucks, everything. Anyone who goes into the mist doesn't come out, and the 5 kingdoms that make up the land can't find a way to defeat the fog, while whispers and rumours claim an ancient evil has returned. Then loading screen. Then cut to a soldier as he runs into the throne room, which has no ceiling. Here we're first introduced to the silent protagonist Katia. Dear God, what is wrong with your eyes? The guard informs Katia that the fog has reached the gates of the castle. Katia then has a flashback to the words of her father, telling her that should the castle ever be attacked, grab the runestone and get the fuck out of Dodge. Then, you gain control of her for the first time. There are 2 ways to maneuver and play the game. The first is an exploration mode. This is how you explore the world around you, using the left stick to move, the C stick to adjust the camera and the A button to interact with the environment. Making your way to the treasure room and grabbing the runestone throws you headfirst into the battle mode. A mysterious voice orders you to use the power of the cards to defeat the 2 skeletons who have just spawned into the room with you. The game gives a basic bitch explanation of how the battle system works. Most of the controls are the same except for the A button, as it has a new use. Katia herself is unable to attack, but the cards she uses will have different effects and uses, like summoning monsters or casting spells. The buttons in the bottom right corner represent her hand. Pressing the indicated button will make Katia use that card in the slot, which is then replaced with another card from the deck once it's been used. Once you defeat the skeletons, an old woman who looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh monster orders us to come with her, then proceeds to insult us based on our looks. We aren't the most fearsome looking warrior. I disagree slightly. I don't suppose you have a burly brother stashed away somewhere. Mildly sexist. Even the ugliest oyster may contain the beautiful pearl. Bitch! You come into my castle and insult me? Give me one good reason I shouldn't have these guards chop your ass up and feed it to the pigs. Though you look more like the pearl than the oyster, that's better. But now I'm concerned you're potentially flirting with me. Concern rising. So this old hag claims she's the only one who can teach us how to use the cards I just got, and we should go with her if we want to stay alive. Okay, Terminator, teach me the way of Yu-Gi-Oh! Then the level ends, you get some bonuses, and onto the world map screen you go. The next tutorial teaches you about deck management. Your deck can only hold 30 cards and they can't be changed mid-mission, so you need to think carefully about what it is you take with you into the levels. At this point in the game, all you can do is just add more cards to the deck. In the future, you'll be able to have enough cards to create multiple decks and specialise each deck to fit a need, like a deck that focuses mainly on defense, or healing, or fighting certain elements of monster. Or just do what I did the first time and just put your favourite monsters into one deck. I have the feeling I just made a few dueling game players cringe saying that. You can also save your game on the world map too. Choosing the next level gives a little story and displays your main objective. In this case, complete the combat training that the hag has for you. Travelling through the level, you will encounter a series of fights with various monsters. Before each one, the hag will give you some advice and tips about the battle system. The first thing you'll notice is that when you enter a fight, the area around you turns into a cube-like stage to fight in. There is no way to flee a fight, so the only way to end a fight is kill or be killed. As you damage and defeat enemies, you will see gems fly out of them. Picking up these gems fills up your power bar, and this is what you use to summon monsters. The cost of a monster is displayed next to the gem on the card. You can keep summoning monsters with no magic saved up, but then it will start to drain your life. The cards also kind of have a life bar. As you use the cards, they set on fire and turn grey, and then when a card becomes several shades of grey, it is discarded and can't be used again until the level is over. Different cards will burn in different ways depending on the type, which we will get to in a second. Further down the road, some rocks teach you about the elements, though I'm more interested in who made these rocks and decided to leave them here, because it wasn't the hag. Each monster has one of 5 elements. They're displayed in the corner for quick reference on weaknesses. Earth beats water, which beats fire, which beats... wood? Seriously, one of the elements is called wood. Wood beats earth, and so on and so forth. The 5th element is neutral, which is affected by nothing positively or negatively. The other stone tells you about card types. On the card, you'll either see a sword, a dragon, or a spell symbol. These symbols tell you how the cards behave. A sword card is an attack card, and they will perform an attack in the direction you're facing and can be used several times before being discarded. A dragon head is a summonable monster. These monsters will make a cutscene play and vary in capabilities, but this card can only be used once before they're discarded. Spell cards are independent cards. These cards summon a monster that acts like a soldier on the field. These monsters will last until killed or until their card burns out. Every time they take a hit, their card burns out faster, and for every second they spend on the field, their card will continue to burn. And for all cards, any burned section of the card carries over to the next fight. Did you catch all that? Don't worry if you didn't, because the hag will tell you again, even though you've just read it all on the stones in front of her wrinkly old ass. Just shut up and let me kill things. Next up is how to manually discard a card. Holding R and then pressing one of the card buttons makes you throw away a card. Usually you do this if you have a shit hand, so use it wisely. It's a lot to take in as I verbally explain it to you, but if you were playing the game, it all clicks into place naturally and you pick it up super quick. It's a very good idea for a battle system and it's well presented, but it's not without its flaws. Judging the range of an attack can be hard, which leads to wasted magic, and potentially a card. The camera moves in quarters, so you can't finely tune it to keep track of an enemy. The crystals that drop disappear quickly, and sometimes you can't even reach them because they are in the middle of a battle. You can only hold 10 at the start, so collecting them when full offers no benefit, but it means that there are only a limited number of crystals in each fight. Running out during a fight can be fatal, and with no way to flee a fight, you either have to quit the level and restart it, or drop dead. You can sort of avoid this situation by using these restoration points to heal and add cards to your deck, but the cards you pick up during that level are the only cards that you can add to the deck. But the threat of having to quit and restart a level because you ran out of cards is very real. On the plus side, experience and cards you picked up during the level are still saved if you do abort the mission. At the end of most missions is a boss, but a boss in the sense of a tougher enemy and not something that needs a specific strategy to figure out, like a traditional boss. They tank damage and do a considerable amount back, and with no dodge maneuver, you're going to get hit way too often. Made even worse by the fact your monsters might not even do enough damage to kill it, and one missed attack could mean you miss your chance to land a fatal blow. So you need to restart the level. This will potentially happen a lot, but this is probably also the way you grind experience to get your cards stronger. Defeating the boss ends a level and you earn a star rating based on your performance. The better you do, the more cards you get to pick at the end, one of which could be the boss you just fought, though the chances are its AI is dumb as fuck now, because it's in your deck. Look at him! I'm fighting the boss and it's wandering around like a Skyrim NPC. This would also be the only time to earn this boss card, as you can't replay levels, so if you miss it, you either need to get lucky and find it in the field, or you can pay out at the shop like a sucker. Speaking of shopping, after the second level you unlock the Apothecary. Here the hag returns and can sell you new cards, you can sell her cards you don't want, and upgrade your cards using experience they gain in battle. Maybe it will make this douchebag smarter. And if you're really lonely, you can talk to the hag and see what she has to say. Usually it's a brief overview of the current objective and current plot points, which is the usual way you will have the story told to you, if not by her, then by random NPCs you run into during the mission, which makes the story feel lackluster and sort of slows the game down. Most of the levels will follow the pattern of fight your way to the end, a boss turns up, sometimes in a cutscene, defeat the boss and then move on. Occasionally during the level there might be a cutscene which includes story progression, but from the little I played for getting this footage, they are so far apart and have nothing to do with the main quest that the story feels secondary and doesn't provide you much motivation to carry on. From here onwards, the levels get a little more complicated, but only a little. Puzzle elements start being introduced, and from what I played, they only go as far as finding clues to discover sequences, finding clues on how to solve a puzzle, or trial and error pattern making. The puzzles don't feel thought out and feel more like padding than design. Though some of the puzzles are optional and you can get rewards, such as hidden cards, by doing them. In this level, we also meet this guy, who looks like such a nerd! He's Alexander, and states he's here studying the fairies, you know, the little people, and will compensate you for bringing him red fairies. Once you complete this level, you can visit him in his home and he will give you rare cards once you hit a milestone of donated fairies. The fairies are strangely adorable. They come in two colours. The red ones could be hiding anywhere in the levels. Either of the fairies are easy to find because they make a jingling sound when you're near one, and if you find a red one, they give you some lore and then they hide in your belly button. The fairies also come in blue, but these ones are little buggers. If they spot you, they try and run away. If you catch one, they can offer a series of benefits like restoring your magic or reviving a used card. Catching one is tricky because they're faster than you and they disappear shortly after spotting you. Why won't this game let me have nice things? Alright, let's try out this new card I got from Alexander. That was a mixed experience. The art on the card gave the impression that it was bigger, and it does look kinda cool, but then it threw out the most poorly rendered fireballs I've ever seen. Apart from the freaky eyes and a few visually lacking aspects, the graphics of the game aren't bad. The frame rate is really good and the game runs very smoothly. Some of the animations are very well done and look convincing. The art on the cards is nice to look at and some of the monster designs do look pretty good. However, the graphics can really lack in some areas. The level design suffers the most. They look plain and boring with hardly anything defining about them. They are often very flat with no interaction such as climbing or swimming, and the colour schemes look thrown together, only giving a bare minimum to the atmosphere. In fact, I'd say the forest level was probably the best looking level. Let me give you an example. Look at this still of the Hobgoblin Forest level. Observe the elements that are within it. Grass, dirt, uneven ground, a barricade, natural objects, hills, flowers, wagon tracks. This looks like a well-travelled area with a hint of Hobgoblin threat in it. Now look at level 3, the village that was recently attacked. Brown, barely any rubble. Brown, no corpses, no wrecked furniture. Brown, no signs of ransacking, no makeshift barricades. Brown, empty space. Is this a village that's been attacked or the ruins of one? In the graveyard, the final level I played for my footage, it looks a little better and has more atmosphere to it, but it's still not as good as looking as the forest one. I think, however, the worst part of the presentation of the game is the sound. The sound effects and the music feel lazy and uninspired. The music is, at its worst, a 15-second loop with musicians that sound like they're rehearsing rather than playing. and at best, someone randomly freeforming on a keyboard. Less effort went into the sound effects. The noise you're going to hear most are the two sound effects they recorded for feet stomping on the floor, which you drown out because there's no or very little ambience noise. Even less effort was put into the speech, if you can call it that. Every character in this game speaks in a series of noises with no bearing on the situation.
Oh yeah?
In fact, Katia is the only character that says a word, but fuck if I know what it means, or even what she's saying. I think she's saying Ideo, but Google says that's a design company. If anyone legitimately knows what she's saying, please leave a comment down below. So, how do I summarise Lost Kingdoms? Well, it's obviously a game that had a small budget, but an effort was made regardless. If you can look past its flaws in presentation and sometimes in its combat, you've got yourself a solid 7 out of 10 game here. It's clear the main focus of the game is the card combat. The task of creating, developing, upgrading and using your deck to cater to your playstyle is appealing and enjoyably engaging. The game isn't a bad game, and its flaws do hurt the experience it offers. However, the flaws it does have are ones that you can adapt to and work around, and the experience you will have is still one you will get some enjoyment out of. If you get the chance to, I would say give this one a go. So, now you've heard of it, would you play it? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching everyone, and remember, you're always welcome at the Spectrum.